I did not let my friend and her husband live with us. She got mad.
She doesn't even go here.
My husband, male 36, and I, female 33, just recently moved a few states over from where we were living. My husband got an amazing job offer and had to move in 2 weeks. We put our home in our previous state up for sale, and we moved and stayed in an apartment until our home sold. By the way, this comes from Glittering Bit 794, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. As it turns out, the apartment was a complete dump, but we made it work until we bought our home. We went through a lot. The apartment had a mold problem, so our health was terrible. I was on contract with my previous work from my previous state and looking for a job locally, but it seemed like I couldn't get bites on anything. Finally, I landed an amazing job and our home finally sold, so we purchased a home here in our current state. It's a dream living here. It's a wonderful area, great community, cost of living is so much better, so we're thriving in a lot of different ways. My husband and I are at the point where we are ready to start having a family, but I do have some health concerns that cause some problems with that, so we're both going through that together as a couple. Fast forward, our friends, female 39 and her husband, male 45, have been in the loop about everything and have been wanting to move over here. They say for a while, but I think it's only because they heard that we're thriving and they want a part of it. Anywho, they mentioned that they wanted to move here, and my husband said that they could live with us temporarily until they bought a home without really talking to me first about it. I confronted him about this and he recognized that he messed up and apologized. He did this because his friend has got him a lot of different jobs, so he feels like he's in a position now to help, and I think that he did that without asking me because he felt like it was the right thing to do. I went ahead and went along with it because I am best friends with the wife and my husband is best friends with the husband, and generally we've gotten along really well with them, so we thought, okay, maybe this won't be a problem. Well, they came to visit us last month. They stayed with us for a few days while they were looking at homes in the area. This whole situation just went down so weirdly and made me realize that I am just not on board with this. So they're kind of struggling for money a little bit, so we didn't want to go out every night while they were here. So I suggested let's make dinner at home one night. Well, when we were doing that, my friend started to correct me and the way that I was cutting apples. She literally stopped what she was doing to correct the way that I was doing it. Then she wanted to make fajita seasoning, so I told her I have taco seasoning and it's pretty similar. She mentioned that she has a dairy allergy, so she has to be careful about the pre-packaged products because they have dairy in it. So we checked and it didn't have dairy in it. She proceeds to say, well, I'm still going to make my own. And then begins to say, well, you don't have all the ingredients, the right ingredients, and I have everything. The only thing that I didn't have was regular paprika instead of smoked paprika, which I think is better anyways.
There's no real difference there. Like, not like a difference that would actually affect the recipe.
Yeah. But then after it was all cooked, she kept making comments like, well, I hope it tastes good because the ingredients weren't quite right. And that really irritated me.
Dude.
Yeah, that would be very frustrating.
Smoked paprika. Come on.
Yeah.
She's like the type of person who would be like, well, I didn't have white pepper. I only had black pepper. So it's not going to take.
It's just not going to taste good. Whatever. It's fine. Everything's fine. Then she starts going through my house and making plans of where her and her husband are going to set up their home office while living with us. And then she said, I'm not sure why you put us in this room because this room is bigger. And
dude, how are you best friends with her and you didn't notice any of this behavior?
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe it just didn't.
Like, this is the first day, basically, or at least the first week that they've been here, and this is how she's acting.
And then she talked about basically occupying all of our extra rooms in our house. She really didn't ask me. She just kind of started making plans, which was another red flag for me. Then the following week, we had family over, and surprise, my in-laws are moving here as well. What?
Why?
People need to start paying rent for real.
Yeah, stop moving in.
That's crazy. They had mentioned that they wanted to move near us, but probably at the later end of the year.
Yeah, near, not in.
Yeah, right? But have since changed their mind and they're moving in August. So they will need a place to stay.
Not here.
Yeah, get your place and stay there. So we let our friends know ASAP that it's not going to work out this year because my in-laws have to stay with us. My friend called me and was very short and snappy at me and said, the only reason why we were wanting to move is because we knew that we had a place with you. It can't work out without that. You knew that. We were just about ready to make decisions on having people install our new floors and fix our yard in this house so we can put it on the market. And I was really shaky and felt so uncomfortable. And I told her, I'm so sorry, but you know we need to make sure that we have space for our family. She was really short and snappy at me and practically hung up on the phone with me, basically shut down. She texted me shortly after and said, I'm sorry, I'm just so emotional right now. And then followed up again saying, again, I'm sorry. I just thought things were all going according to God's plan, but I guess that's not the case. A week later, I took some time to mull things over and I'm trying to be as respectful as I can. I'm going through therapy, so I'm trying to bring up uncomfortable things when they need to be brought up. So I texted her a few days later and told her that we just decided that long-term guests aren't a good fit for us anymore. We're trying to start a family and my husband's family is going to be living with us and they need a place to stay. And I also mentioned that the phone call conversation made me very uncomfortable and hurt and made me feel like she was blaming me for plans not working out. She then said that she would like to call and talk about things because she cares too much about her friendship to let things get this way. I reassured her that we're still best friends, but this is something that we're just gonna have to do. She texted and said that she understood, and then 3 weeks later, she wants to call and talk to me. I said, sure, I'll make time on the weekend. Friday rolls around and I tell my friend, hey, I have an appointment with the vet for my dog. It might take a while, so I want to open up Friday afternoon to talk if you would like. She follows up and says, no, she has plans with her husband. I said, no problem. So Saturday rolls around, take my dog to the vet, text her afterwards and tell her that my dog is doing better and that we were in line to get a pup cup for her at Starbucks. She proceeds to tell me that she took her dog to the vet too, and then she told me that she got her nails done and she really liked the design. Conversation stopped from there. So just avoiding the problem, it seems.
Yeah.
I waited all day for her to call me and she never called me. I looked back at her message and thought maybe I should have been more clear that I was available. So I texted her that evening and said, hey, I think I misunderstood your text. I'm totally open to talking now if you're available or at any point this evening. She told me, let's check in tomorrow. I said, sure, no problem. And you can always check into our full episodes of stories just like this one on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime.
I'm going to be honest with you, OP.
Yeah.
I don't think you guys are best friends.
Yeah.
This doesn't feel... You are friends?
Sure.
Doesn't feel like best friends to me.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My friend comes over, complains about the fajita spices. I say,
Yeah.
girl, smoked paprika is fine.
Yeah.
And then
like,
we get over that. Yeah. She says, oh, we're going to be there forever. I go, okay, you're not going to be here forever. My family's coming. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Like, I'm having way different types of conversations if she's
Yeah.
my best friend.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Like, this feels like
and then avoiding the problem.
kind of like friends that you haven't seen in a while and you're kind of awkward with. Like, that's...
You don't know each other.
Yeah, the not knowing if they were gonna call or whatever.
Yeah.
Like I would have been like, "Hey, are we talking?"
Yeah.
You know, like I would have been
like,
calling her up. I wouldn't wait until that evening. This
Yeah.
feels like a relationship, like the type of conversations or type of stuff that happens between like just friends.
Yeah, not besties for the
Yeah.
besties.
I'm just being semantic though.
But there is a little bit more to the story. So Sunday rolls around and I told her, hey, I'm available to talk anytime after 1 because I have church. 12:45 rolls around. I tell her I'm done with church and I'm eating lunch. And then afterwards, I'm available anytime she is. I never hear from her. It shows that she read my text message at 1:38, but never calls me, never texts me, never gives me an update. So at this point, I'm pretty frustrated and fed up. I've talked with friends, family members, and everyone thinks that I need to keep my distance with her. I guess my question is, am I the a-hole for telling them that they can't live with us even if it's temporary? Am I in the wrong here? And that's the end of that story, but what do we think? Do we think OP is the a-hole?
I think OP is not the a-hole for any of this. I
Yeah.
just think you've misled us. This is not your
Just
best
with
friend.
the best friend part.
Literally just the best friend comment. It's not your best friend.
Yeah. Yeah, I think even if like she were a friend or like just a friend, you know,
Yeah.
this is a very generous thing that you guys are doing for
Yeah.
them, like letting them stay over. So I feel like if I was in their position, like, yeah, maybe I would be a little bit blindsided being like, oh, what? Like I was
Yeah.
totally relying on you guys.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it'd be like, okay, but this isn't my house. You do like you would have to understand, be like, yeah, I'm a guest here.
Literally.
This isn't like I'm not paying rent, you know,
Yeah.
like I'll have to figure out something else.
No, I do think that you need to reassess your friendships though. Find an
Yeah,
actual
a
best
different
friend.
radar.
Yeah.
But that is the end of that story. We've got another one coming right up.
I ended a 10-year friendship because she made me feel unimportant.
Uh-oh, SpaghettiOs.
When I was in high school, I had a pretty tight-knit group of friends. We're all in our mid-20s now, and understandably, we have all grown apart and only see each other on the rare occasion. Like most friend groups, I had closer bonds with some more than others, and in my case, it was, let's call them, Andy and Abby. By the way, this comes from Deep Fried Writer, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OK Storytime subreddit. So Andy and I are still relatively close, going out for drinks whenever we have time to catch up, sending each other major life updates just to keep each other in the loop. It's one of those low maintenance friendships that you grow to appreciate so much as life goes on. However, Abby and I had different friendships growing up and even into our early 20s, as we lived right around the corner from each other and were just very alike in a sense. We'd have sleepovers on school nights, hang out every spare second we had, and even when we both got into our current long-term relationships, we had fun hanging out with the other person and their partner. I even got her a job at the pot shop I worked at until we both got laid off at the same time, LMAO. Anyways, Abby and I were besties for years, hanging out more so with each other than our friend group. As I previously mentioned, in our mid-20s, everyone got a bit busier and understandably a bit more distant, but we still had our Snapchat group chat and would go to Abby's house for summer swims when we were free. My birthday is in August, and as a devout homebody, it was a big deal for me to make big birthday plans as it was my 25th birthday, and I wanted nothing more than to get all the gals together. I was rallying people together to get a party bus and managed to get a decent-sized group so that the cost was affordable for everyone. Since the economy was in the crapper and has only gone down from there, I double-checked with everyone that they were all good to pitch the $50 to rent the party bus for the night. This was the absolute maximum a few people were willing to pay, which I completely understood. But if just one person dropped out, the fee would go up for everyone. Hence why my Virgo butt double-checked everyone was 100% all in. Honestly, you should have them all pay you.
Yeah.
Just say like, hey, can you Venmo me now?
Yeah, right?
You know, once everyone's like in, I would say like, hey, if you're in, could you Venmo?
Yeah.
If you have to cancel,
Like,
unfortunately, like, you
sorry.
know, we can't. Yeah.
Yeah, but like if we want to do something, we kind of got to pay for it.
Gotta pay for it. Once I received all the information, I put in a $250 non-refundable deposit with the party bus company and let everyone know that my plans were a go. Not long after, I got a separate text from Abby saying that she could no longer come as she had a wedding in September she had to save up for. Now, normally I'm an overly understanding person, but I simply replied with a dry, "Are you serious?" for the following reasons. A, Abby was one of my longest, closest friends, and having her choose an acquaintance's wedding over coming to my birthday was hurtful. She can pay $50. Come on. B, I double checked with everyone that they were still able to go before placing the non-refundable deposit. To some people, $250 is not a lot to lose, but as a full-time student and part-time worker, this hurt my wallet. And she confirmed she was in. C, she obviously knew about this wedding well in advance and has plenty of time to save or notify me she was not able to come to my birthday. D, I now had to notify the rest of the group that the price for everyone was going to go up because she decided to back out, which resulted in the party bus being canceled altogether. She never responded to my admittedly passive-aggressive "Are you serious?" text, but I still sent her a super sweet follow-up text explaining that the plans changed to a little pre-drink in my sister's backyard and going to the club afterwards. However, I understood that money was tight for her and it would make my birthday if she was able to simply show up at the pre-drink. She never responded to that either. And when my birthday came up, not even a simple happy birthday text from my so-called best friend Abby. It's safe to say my feelings were hurt because I feel as though I was more than forgiving and understanding, and she was giving me the cold shoulder. I waited for weeks for a text from her explaining why she didn't come to my birthday or explaining why she hadn't reached out sooner, eager to get past this uncomfortable situation. When I didn't hear from her for a couple months, I unfollowed her on pretty much everything because I did not feel as though she valued our friendship anymore, and frankly was hurt seeing her post with our other friends or even reposting stuff to her stories when I felt like I was wronged, yet still put myself out there just to be ignored. Despite this, I never blocked her number because I was still holding out hope that she would text me and we could resume our decade-long friendship. A few more months passed without a word. Our group chat was mostly dominated by my friend Marie sending updates about her new baby and the occasional gal sending a throwback photo of us in our hood rat days or "I hope you are all well," and I rarely replied because I knew Abby was still hanging out with some of the girls and probably told them the story with her own skew on things. So it was, in my opinion, an elephant in the group chat that I did not want to acknowledge. One night, Andy and I were hanging out with some of our other friends, having a small pre-drink before going out, and Andy sent a casual snap of it to our group chat. This is when Abby decides to immaturely call me out, not privately, but in our group chat, asking, "Why did you block me on everything?" I'm half in the bag at this point and simply wrote, "Because you didn't say happy birthday to me." Sad face. Wait,
Dang.
Oh man, you blocked her after she didn't say happy birthday to you? Even though it was way deeper than that. and I deleted her from my social media, but my texts were wide open all these many months. My other friend Connie, who moved to another province years ago, decided to pipe in, stating dryly, "Half this group chat didn't say happy birthday to me and I didn't block them." At that point, I got the sense that Abby and Connie were having a convo on the side, plotting this weird conversation that I wanted no part of. I then explained deeper about my feelings, mentioning that she could have messaged me privately at any point, and that I did not feel as though our group chat, while I was having a couple drinks, was the appropriate place to have this long-awaited conversation. We ended up texting, with her apologizing and saying she was hurt I removed her, with me apologizing and explaining my feelings. It felt like we came to an amicable agreement, both admitting our wrongs and getting to a good place, but our friendship never got back on track. We've texted here and there, mostly me saying happy birthday to her, and her sending me pictures of her engagement. Since so much time has gone by, I've really reflected on our friendship, realizing that she often made jokes about my insecurities and felt like she was always comparing herself to me, as we are so similar. Her calling me out in the group chat rather than having a private conversation was the final straw for me, as it felt super inappropriate and immature. I've kind of gotten used to not having her in my life, but of course I miss her and our friendship, and she still lives around the corner. I pass her house all the time and think of how unfortunate it is that this situation is the reason we don't talk anymore. It also sucks because I have missed out on group gatherings to avoid seeing her. I'm the type of person that can't hide my feelings, so I'd rather miss out than make others uncomfortable by my visible anxiety over the situation. I respond biannually in the group chat, and I've even missed out on Andy's most recent birthday dinner because Abby was there. Do I continue to avoid these situations at the expense of my other friendships, or really finally confront it? Am I the a-hole for deleting her or not making more of an effort to repair our friendship? Her wedding is also coming up next year, and while I miss her and truly want the best for her and her fiance, who I also really like as a person, I don't know how to navigate the conversation, or if I am or am not invited to their wedding. Any advice or perspective is appreciated, and I would appreciate if you guys listen to full episodes of stories just like this. Just go to Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or iHeartRadio and search up OK Storytime. There is a little bit left to this story. Do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I think definitely confront her. Just confront her.
Just confront her.
Because you
go to your friends' parties.
Yeah, because you don't.
Come on.
You already seem to not want to lose this friendship.
Yeah.
That you've had for so many years. So you can't, like, don't let yourself lose the other friendships just because you, like, were scared to fix this friendship. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to lose one. Well, if you keep going this way, you're gonna lose them
all.
The rest.
It's just frustrating. I think OP, I'm gonna tell you straight, you need to confront your fears. You need to face them.
Face your fears.
You need to face your fears. You need to communicate, do all of those things, because right now you're literally just sticking your head in the sand, and that's not working. Edit, she knew about this wedding months in advance and texted me she couldn't attend my birthday hours after confirming the cost and RSVPing yes. I responded dryly because I now had to tell 15 other people that the price was going up, which was non-negotiable to some 15. So I therefore had to cancel the party bus, lose $250 I could not afford, and send back money to people who already sent me their shares. I also have very bad social anxiety, so the situation of even setting up the party was a very big deal for me, thus having to sort out a whole new plan and inform others of the change of plans was very overwhelming. Maybe my initial response was curt, but I put aside my feelings and my pride, tried to see her side, invited her to the alternate plans, ensuring she would not have to put herself out financially, as her presence was the only gift I would have wanted. My last thoughts are, your current solution is talk to her. Talk to anyone.
Yeah.
My other solution, I'm going to do some math really quick. So it's about $850, and then maybe she wasn't.
Oh, yeah, because it's 50 each.
I'm assuming she was including the $250
I'm
split.
assuming, yeah.
So $850, and then specifically if the $250 is divided by 17, that's $14. You literally could have just paid $100 instead of spending $250 to cancel it.
Yeah.
That's my thing.
That one.
Why didn't we do that?
That's on you, OP.
Maybe
Sorry,
I'm
girl.
misunderstanding the situation, but why didn't we do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't. Or,
yeah, if you couldn't afford the $250, like, then
don't cancel
save $150.
Yeah.
And just pay the $100. Sorry that it's uncomfortable.
You don't have to be friends with her.
Control.
You don't have to be besties with her, but like get to a point where you can go to a party without avoiding her.
Yeah. You don't want to.
Adults.
You want to be an adult. And be able to go to parties when someone you don't like so much is there. Yeah.
I've been to so many parties with people I don't like.
Yep.
Just avoid them. You don't have to talk to them.
You just don't.
But that's the end of that story. So we're going to get into the next one.
My friend's bride acted horribly at her own wedding. It made everyone upset.
No one likes a bridezilla.
I've held on to this one for years. The groom, we'll call him Tim, was best friends with my husband. The bride, let's call her Cruella, who was unknown to my husband, myself, even the groom's family. Tim met her while working out of state, and according to him, they had everything in common. Okay, they had a lot in common, and what they didn't, she made sure that he changed his mind on agreeing with her. By the way, this comes from Lady Command, and if you want to submit your own stories, go to the r/OKStorytime subreddit. Tim's parents and sister saw this dramatic shift. His best friend saw it. Even I did. He was arrogant before, but phew, she was even more so, without anything to really back it up. She was average, but very, very arrogant average. So I don't get asked what I mean by average. She has straight, mousy, shoulder-length hair, no makeup, didn't exercise, about 5'3" or 4. She wore clothes that were stained and stretched out, basically comfortable how she was. Like so many of us, average. She wasn't a genius, didn't have an important or high-paying job, just average. Nothing against average. I myself am basically average. It just stood out with the arrogance and her actions. Invites went out for a bridal shower to be held where she was from, a 5-hour drive away from the groom's family. Okay, no problem. We carpooled with Tim's family. We asked in advance, especially since we had a person with lots of pain from travel and another who was elderly, if there was somewhere that we could stay if we got there early or even if we needed to spend the night. We didn't know the area, so we needed some suggestions. Somehow this request offended Cruella. To this day, we have no idea why, but after my husband talked with Tim, we got some suggestions and couldn't understand what the issue had been. Afterwards, Cruella apparently convinced Tim somehow that this request was everyone being against her, and he was asking us to apologize to her. What? So Tim's mother, to keep the peace, apologized for being elderly and needing these suggestions.
So sorry, I'm old.
I loved this woman so much. Cruella said that she didn't have time to deal with something so trivial, especially with the wedding and shower plans. She snapped at Tim's mother over the phone to ask someone else or contact AAA. Tim's mom rolled with it and just politely put it down to Cruella being nervous and overwhelmed. She told Tim any questions about anything from his family or friends, they had to ask him, not her, and he could get answers for all of us. One of the traveling party, me, was allergic to shellfish and nuts, so Tim was made aware of this to pass along. This part was awesome. Even though nothing was apparently going to be made with either, Cruella demeaned the person to Tim, which he just spewed out at all of us during a visit with family and friends. We came to help arrange carpool and get the rest of his stuff. But he went on and on, not even knowing who, saying that she had never heard of anyone with those kinds of allergies. 2 of the top 5 and she'd
Shellfish? She's never heard of a person with a shellfish allergy?
or a nut allergy.
Those are the
They're
top 2.
Those are the allergies.
Those are the allergies.
Like, what?
I have multiple friends with those allergies.
Yeah, but she demands that they don't really exist. To the extent that she wanted him to make sure of who it was and see if he could possibly convince them not to come and possibly ruin her fun day, even though nothing was even going to be made with them in the first place.
Nothing's going to be even made with those.
Oh, man. During this time, just a week now until the shower, the wedding invitations went out. My husband and I never got one, though. Tim was still talking as if we were going, so my husband mentioned that we never got an invite. Tim checked the list of the ones that were sent, and it was supposed to be. So he asked Cruella. She never mailed it because she figured that I was the one who claimed food allergies. Tim sent the invite and was upset with Cruella, but only about the invite. Tim told her that it was crappy to hold the invite and he didn't want to upset his BFF. She said, "Oh, okay. Well, tell his wife then that she doesn't have to bring me a gift to the shower then. Wouldn't be a loss with someone like that," meaning food allergies. Made me a lesser person to her since she doesn't believe that they exist. We'll move on to the shower. I have never been to another like this. When we arrived after 5 hours on the road, Cruella was in a huddle with her bridesmaids and mother. Never said hello to us, let alone mother-in-law, no matter how hard mother-in-law tried. The mother was a very nice person, but the bridesmaids, not so much. Cruella and her bridesmaids were just snapping at us to sit down already. Apparently, the time we arrived, 20 minutes early, was late to her. She wanted us to arrive an hour before. Why? No reason was ever given, and this was never mentioned before we all left. But she was pissed off and made sure that we sat all the way in the back, even Tim's mother, witching the whole time about our inconsideration. Who knows what all she said to her bridesmaids, but their scowls could have cracked glass. Normally, you eat, then play games, but but she wanted to reverse even though that we were on the road for so many hours nonstop. So we rolled with it as long as we could have some water. OMG, you'd have thought that we would ask for a $1,000 bottle of champagne. She said, we're serving the bottles of water for when the food is served. I don't know what to do for any of you. We don't have any plastic cups or anything because those are so wasteful. Necessary medications had to be taken by 2 of us, so I drove out to a town 3 miles away. I got drinks for our caravan of people. When I got back, bridesmaids were witching about how I was holding them up. No, I could have cared less had you started without me, lol. The games. Some were regular ones. Some were just theirs that they made up. One was a page with different images on it. Everyone had their own page. You had 1 minute to memorize as many items, not wedding related, weirdly. And then we had to flip the paper over, using our laps as tables. Tables were only for food time, apparently. Then we had 1 minute to write everything that we could remember. So now prize time. The bridesmaids ask how many are written down. Some had 8, 9, 10, onward. One in our group had 23. The bridesmaids balk at this and are telling the whole room how there must have been cheating or have gibberish written down. They have everyone write their names on their pages, hand them in, and they're going to check them and make sure that only people who had right answers are awarded a prize. We had to sit while they took about 15 minutes to check all the lists. It's a shower, not a standardized test. I can understand if the prizes were $100 or more gift cards, nice jewelry, or something of significant value, as I know happens at some showers doing this. They had over 50 prizes unwrapped so we could see them, all from the Dollar Tree, and most of them were from multiple packs being given individually. There were 6 games. To accuse the future mother-in-law and sister-in-law of being cheaters was truly heinous, but being the laid-back folk that we were, we gave each other humored looks and basically at this point knew that we would have plenty of laughter material for the way home and for years later. Each game was done the same, but after the second game, friends of Corella were told that theirs didn't have to have graded, only out-of-area folks did. Last game, I was a high scorer. I don't even remember what the game was. Corella loudly told the bridesmaids to not check mine, grabs one of like 20 remaining prizes, walks over and says, since I didn't send out your invitation with the others, here you go. Oh, and since that happened, you didn't have to bring me a present. Oh, but I saw you did, right? So wedding present then. I know that they can be difficult for some. I answer with a big smile. Well, while it's encouraged to bring a gift to a shower, it's actually not a requirement. I don't have to give you a gift if I choose not to. We all went in together on your gift, but thanks for the prize. She knew Tim before my husband and I got married, but was not at our wedding. She kept making weird statements about how she got away with not having to get us a wedding gift. Why? No idea. And now for the food. Oh my gosh, it just never ends. Oh my gosh, it was all little cut cakes and cookies, all desserts, with one of us out-of-towners being diabetic, and she knew this. Just like allergies, she believed that they didn't really exist. This is all that we were given to eat for over 9 hours until we could find somewhere to stop. And there were nuts everywhere.
Oh my God.
Dusted on each dessert.
No.
The snacks were bowls of different nuts. And Corella and her bridesmaids all giggled. Just messed up people. As the wedding drew closer, she and her bridesmaids got more and more obnoxious to Tim's mother and sister. They were gracious to Corella and saved any upset to help not make Tim's day worse. And you can prevent your day from getting worse by listening to full episodes with more stories just like this on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, whatever your favorite podcast app is. Just search OK Storytime. Your day is going to be instantly better.
Try it out, see.
But there is a little bit more to the story, but I don't want to just get on the phone with these people. No, I want to be in a wrestling ring with these people.
I want to
Go
to
the
go toe to
octagon.
toe.
Yeah.
Let me
Cage
in
match.
there, coach. Let me in there. They just suck. There's no redeeming qualities to these people.
No.
I don't want to be at their wedding.
No.
I'm telling my husband, hey, I can't go to any of these events. They suck. I fear for my life.
There's a little bit more to the story though. So we were so upset for Tim's mother, especially since this was her new daughter-in-law. So we decided to take Corella up on her offer about the gift. My husband found the biggest box at work that he could. It barely fit into our car, but I had wrapped it very prettily. Eventually, at the reception, she saw the box and asked loudly what could be inside with this expectant look on her face, while in front of half of the guests, hoping upon hope that she had somehow just won the lottery of gifts from laid-back person whom she was such a biatch to. My husband answered in his loud voice, "Same thing you got us, different color." Look on her face was priceless as the recognition of the answer sunk in. Tim got the gag and actually loved it. Yes, my husband is still BFFs with Tim. Yes, Tim and his wife are both still full of themselves. And that is the end of that
BFFs
story.
with Tim?
Yeah, I feel like Tim seems like he's very much stuck in this relationship. I doubt he's actually happy, but he's still being, he's still not being a good friend, it seems.
And also OP literally just said Tim and his wife are still full of themselves.
Yeah, so if Tim is full of himself
Why
too,
are we
then
friends with Tim?
what's going on? If he's as full of himself as this wife, then girl, get out of there. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. But that is the end of that story and the end of that episode.
It's true.